The Dallas Mavericks just got extremely scary and are probably one of the best teams in the Western Conference currently. Now, although I do have my reservations on how good I think they could be in the playoffs and maybe some holes that they still have on their roster, but I do think overall at the trade deadline, they were able to get much better. And I'll be going over a few reasons why I think the Dallas Mavericks are so good, and then how they got even better at the trade deadline, and why I think a lot of teams definitely do not want to see the Mavericks going into this year's playoffs. So I'm getting to all that in this video. If that does not interest you, please watch it all the way through and hit the like button and subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. Without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. The first thing I have to get out of the way is the fact that Luka Doncic is just otherworldly dominant so far this season. The fact that people have him outside of the top 5 in the MVP race this year is absolutely absurd. He has been probably, if not the best, one of the 2 or 3 best players in the entire NBA this year, as he is currently averaging 34 points per game, 9.5 assists per game, 8.8 rebounds per game, on 49% shooting from the field, 37% shooting from 3, and 77% shooting from the free throw line. So he is unbelievably scoring at a great level. I think he's averaging the most points in the league right now, on top of getting his teammates involved, on top of rebounding the ball, and he's doing it very efficiently as well. You literally can't ask him to do anything else. And with Luka Doncic, he's kind of having like a prime LeBron effect. Now, obviously not to the same extent, but he is still up there, as if just him by himself being on your team makes you pretty much a playoff level team and gives you a chance in any game that you're playing in. And Luka Doncic, like I said, is just probably a top 2 player in the league this year, and is more than deserving to be in the MVP conversation, despite a lot of people not even having him in their top 5, which, like I said, is just absolutely insane. Then on top of Luka just being maybe one of the best first options in the NBA, they probably have the best second option in the NBA in Kyrie Irving. Now, when they first traded for him, I did not think him and Luka would work together because they play very similar ISO basketball and everything, but Kyrie has embraced being the second option, and he has been extremely dominant in that role, averaging 25 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, on also very good efficiency. And obviously we know Kyrie Irving is more than capable of being a number 1 option when Luka Doncic is on the bench, and he is extremely good at it, and he's even became a great 3-point shooter. Now, he's not shooting a better efficiency than he has really his whole career, but he has just been extremely good and one of the better 3-point shooters in the entire NBA this season, and he is very good. And him and Luka have learned to play together at a very high level, which is something that has surprised me greatly. Now, the defense leaves a little to be desired with them as a backcourt, but they're still so dominant on the offensive end, they kind of make up for it. And like I said, Kyrie, when Luka goes out, Kyrie can be the Kyrie we saw of old, scoring the ball, getting teammates involved, basically running the team, how Luka does when he's on the court. And they just kind of have really found this very good middle ground where they play at an extremely high level and really complement each other's games, which is crazy for how similar they played before they getting on the same team. Now, kind of for the whole reason why I'm making this video is the fact that they have upgraded their roster fairly significantly from the trade deadline, as they first traded for Daniel Gafford from the Washington Wizards. And Daniel Gafford, to me, is just a better version of what Derek Lively was. Now, I think Derek Lively fits them, but I don't think he's a great player to say. I think he's just in a perfect situation for what he is, and Daniel Gafford to me is just a better version of Lively, so he is going to help them tremendously. He's going to slightly upgrade them, and then, I mean, at worst, he adds depth to this team, because now him or Lively is going to be coming off their bench, and they really won't have to change their style of play when one comes in, because they both do very similar things, and they're basically the same player. And I just think overall that they are going to be able to really just kind of eat at each other's minutes, and kind of just one guy's hot, maybe put him in, or if one guy's a better shot blocker, one guy's better rebounder one night, they're going to play more, and it just adds depth, and it keeps you being able to play the same way with your bench unit, because one of them is coming off your bench now. Now, I do think both of them have their holes in their game that are very large and probably will get taken advantage of in the playoffs, but I do think for the regular season, they have a very good system going with them trading for Gafford. And I think even more importantly, they traded for PJ Washington from the Charlotte Hornets, and PJ Washington is one of the most underrated players in the league before getting traded, in my opinion. He is a legit power forward who's a very good offensive player for the position, and he is just extremely solid, and I think he's really going to fit very well with this team, because he is now a third option on it. And the biggest thing is the fact that he replaces Derrick Jones Jr. in the starting lineup, and Derrick Jones Jr. was a ginormous hole as well. People would beg him to shoot the ball because he can't shoot at all, and he can't really dribble that good. He's really only a super athletic guy who can play some defense and maybe get a dunk every here and there, and he's okay at finishing around the rim, but he is a complete liability from 3. But now they you add PJ Washington, you get a guy that you have to respect from all 3 levels of the court, and you legitimately have to guard at all times, which is only going to open the floor more for Luka Doncic and Kyrie, and even the pick and roll game with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford as well. The reason these moves were so important, in my opinion, is because it makes this team a much more flexible team, because to me, the best teams in the playoffs can adjust to basically any style of play, and they really don't have as many holes as other teams. Now, yes, no team is perfect. They're going to always have a hole. They're not going to be as good at certain things as they are at others, but I think the Dallas Mavericks, although still having a lot of holes in their roster that some teams can take advantage of, I think that they were able to fill a lot of them and just become a lot more versatile as a unit. As, I mean, look what they have. They now can do things. They can play at their normal style with Daniel Gafford as their starting 5, and then come in with Derek Lively, and then you can still play the same pick and roll game at an even higher level, because like I said, a guy like PJ Washington really opens that up, and I think that's very, very valuable. But in trading for a guy like PJ Washington, what that now provides is if a team tries to go small ball on you and expose you with Lively or Gafford trying to guard the perimeter, which they obviously cannot because they're slow bigs and they can't guard the perimeter, now you can put PJ Washington at center and go small ball, and now you're much more able to kind of counteract someone going small on you. Because a team like the Pelicans earlier in the year, what they did, they put, I think, Herb on Derek Lively, and they put Dyson on Luka and begged Derrick Jones Jr. to beat them, and he was not able to do it, and the Dallas Mavericks end up getting blown out in that game. Luka struggled a lot. Derek Lively was useless, despite having a guy like Herb Jones on him, because Derek Lively is so challenged when it comes to the offensive end, and they were able to switch that pick and roll so easily that the Mavericks were really just very much struggling to score on that offensive end of the ball. So now with a guy like PJ Washington, if a team goes small, now you're going to get a lot more, at least a lot easier to adjust to that, because now a guy like PJ Washington can score on a smaller guy that you put on him. He's just overall a more talented offensive player than a guy like Gafford or Lively, and it's just going to open up a lot of different avenues for a team like the Mavericks. And then on top of that, they have a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., who's one of the better 6-man coming off anyone's bench right now. He's a very high-level scorer, can shoot the ball, and he's just all around a very, very solid player. Overall, I think this team got a lot better as a whole at the trade deadline. I think Luka and Kyrie are one of the better duos in the entire NBA, and I just think this Dallas Mavericks team is going to be very, very dangerous despite still having a few holes in their roster. But unfortunately, guys, that's my videos. Comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that Dallas is very good? How good do you think they can be? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, point, hit the like button, subscribe button, mean the absolute word to me, and I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.